Would your employer pay the U.S. government $100,000 just to hire you? Well, that requirement has just been created for the H-1B visa applicants.
Tech companies scrambled today to get their foreign workers back to the U.S. after President Trump announced a drastic hike in visa fees. It applies to the H-1B visa for high-skilled jobs, which previously cost $215. The president's proclamation requires a $100,000 fee. Microsoft, JP Morgan, and Amazon all told their employees on those visas not to leave the country, and if they're currently overseas, to get back by midnight tonight. That's according to internal emails reviewed by Reuters. India and China account for the highest number of H-1B visa applications, and in India, some saw a silver lining to the move.
It's a big hit for the tech talent, but also on the other side, I think it will be good for India because it could be a reverse brain drain in the legs where people can work here.
The Trump administration argues companies use H-1B visas to hire foreign-born workers for cheaper wages.
We need workers, we need great workers, and this pretty much ensures that that's what's going to happen. I think, Sean, do you agree with that?
Well, they're $100,000 per year. So the whole idea is no more will these big tech companies or other big companies train foreign workers. They have to pay the government $100,000, then they have to pay the employee. So it's just not economic. If you're going to train somebody, you're going to train one of the recent graduates from one of the great universities across our land. Train Americans, stop bringing in people to take our jobs. That's the policy here, $100,000 a year for H-1B visas, and all of the big companies are on board. We've spoken to them about the gold card.
They love it. They love it. They really love it. They need it.
Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. In case you're new here, my name is Maren.
And I'm Maureen. So how many of you have heard about Trump hiking the application fee of H-1B visa from what currently costs between $2,000 to $5,000 to $100,000?
Right. In today's episode, we are going to be asking the question, because of this visa hikes to $100,000, are companies willing to pay that much so that they can be able to import employees? Secondly, we are going to ask, what does this mean for America as a country, for Americans as the citizens, and also for third world countries that benefit from this system?
Yeah, from the immigrants to be specific. So guys, let's watch this video and then we come back and talk about it. But you can also let us know what you personally think about this episode, and also consider subscribing if you're new to our channel. Let's watch.
Imagine for a second they just got an offer to work for Google in the US. However, Google has to pay the government $100,000 for you to go and work there. That sounds crazy, right? Well, that's exactly what people are talking about with the H-1B visa. The H-1B is a special work visa that lets American companies hire skilled foreign workers in fields like engineering, research, and tech. Silicon Valley has relied on it for decades to bring in talent from around the world, especially India. However, on Friday, President Trump signed an executive order that adds a $100,000 fee for every new H-1B visa application. At first, there was confusion that even re-entering the US could cost the same. Panic around this idea sent thousands of H-1B visa holders who are visiting their families at home on vacation rushing back to the US. Fortunately, the White House later clarified that this fee only applies to new applicants, not renewals or re-entry. Still, that leaves US companies with a $100,000 problem. If this policy holds, we could see big tech companies scaling back on hiring international talent or moving jobs overseas. Skilled migrants might think twice about working in the US as well. Although some argue it could open up jobs for Americans, others worry it could slow innovation in Silicon Valley, where global talent has always been the backbone.
Microsoft just warned all H-1B employees in foreign countries on vacation to come back to the United States immediately, because starting tomorrow, Trump has implemented a pretty unexpected executive order where instead of $1,000, the H-1B visa application fee is now $100,000. He just 100x the fee. Also changed other rules like making the minimum salary to get an H-1B go up to $150K from $60K. The first is because Trump sees even legal immigration as taking jobs away from Americans. But the problem, of course, is that companies have not been able to find enough skilled engineering talent in the United States, which is why they're looking at people abroad. The other reason he's doing this is, you might remember we covered him firing the labor statistics chief because he didn't like the job numbers, but unfortunately firing her doesn't actually change the job numbers, which haven't been looking that hot even though the market is doing well. And by decreasing legal immigration, it does force companies to hire American workers instead, even if they're not skilled enough for those roles. The other way to get job numbers back up would be to take away tariffs, because that gives companies the predictability they need to start hiring again. But obviously he doesn't want to do that, so this is an alternative where he just stops visa programs, and that probably would pump the job numbers up. The other reason is he wants to pay down the American debt. Last year there were 500,000 applications for H-1B visas that companies submitted, which would have raised $500 billion if they had all paid $100,000. Of course, once the $100,000 fee is implemented, most people are not going to submit applications anymore. But Trump is still estimating like $100 billion could be made from this program, because he's also letting people buy visas on their own for $1 million. I do think a lot of exceptions will be made to this pretty insane rule, especially for his friends. Like, my pod prediction is that he's going to give Zuck and all the people that were like front row at his inauguration an exception, or have some type of backdoor loophole. So if he does do that, the real people that'll get screwed over in this are tech startups as well as hospitals, because a lot of people in residency in the US right now, as well as doctors in rural areas, are on H-1B programs.
Everybody's focusing on the H-1B visa executive order of yesterday. I see a lot of people saying that this will lead to a lot of offshoring, which means that companies will just delegate to people that are working abroad, which is even cheaper in terms of pricing competition when it comes to salary. Paying $100,000 to an American or paying $30,000 to somebody in India that is working from India will lead even more companies and just offshoring jobs. Nobody knows that a few days or weeks ago, a politician, I believe from Idaho, just put out a proposal to tax work offshoring. Most of all, to not allow the deduction of that cost. Let me make an example. This law was to pass, what would it mean? I could pay $100,000 to an American worker. I can hire somebody in Germany for $30,000 working from Germany. If I did, first of all, I would have to pay an additional 25% tax on this. Tax of $7,500, which would bring my cost from $30,000 to $37,500. Secondly, I cannot deduct that as an expense. Normally, if you make $100 in profit, you have $40 in expenses. You'll pay taxes on 100 minus 40, so $60 of profit. In this case, all the cost that entails offshoring jobs cannot be deducted as an expense. It means that if I make 100 and I spend 40 in salaries abroad between taxes and paying these people, we'll still have to pay taxes on $100, which means that my cost of 30 become a cost of, let's simplify it, of 40, plus the fact that I have to pay 20% tax, corporate tax, on that 40 that I cannot deduct, which is another 8. My real cost of hiring somebody abroad is actually 48, not 30. Unless I find a place where labor is extremely cheap and extremely skilled, it will be a tough choice between delegating to somebody abroad or hiring an American worker.
Well, now there seems to be uncertainty on whether, if you already have an H-1B, you are allowed to travel or not. Based on Trump's presidential proclamation, it says in black and white you can't unless you pay $100,000. But just recently, it's being reported in the news that Commerce Secretary Lutnick is saying if you have an H-1B visa, you are allowed to travel. It's only for new H-1B visas that you wouldn't be able to travel unless you're willing to pay the $100,000 fine. There's a lot of conflicting information out there, and if I was on an H-1B visa, I just wouldn't travel till we know for sure. Here's some very important breaking news. If you're on an H-1B, you have less than 18 hours to get back into the United States or you're banned. Starting at midnight, September 21st, all H-1B workers who are outside of the United States can't get on an airplane. You won't be allowed back in the U.S. And if you're on an H-1B in the United States, you're okay. Nobody's taking your H-1B away. You're allowed to work. You're allowed to be here. But you're stuck. You can't travel. If you travel, you're not coming back into the U.S. And all new H-1B petitions will not be adjudicated unless you pay $100,000 for that H-1B visa. There's been no mention in the new rules about extensions of status, change of status, so apparently you can change status and extend status here in the U.S. without a problem. This ban is going to be 12 months. And the only exception to all of this is if the U.S. government thinks your work is in the national interest because of your particular job or your industry. So let all the politicking begin for all the big companies and industries trying to convince the Trump administration that their workers are in the national interest.
Today we saw two very crazy things happen with immigration. The first has to do with the H-1B program. The Trump administration announced $100,000 as the fee that should accompany an application for the H-1B visa work program. This is extraordinary, guys. This is something that is unheard of. Unheard of. There is not a fee like this that exists in our immigration structure. And it's sure to impact the tech industry as well as science and other fields. They're going to take a hit, although the Trump administration has said that tech is on board with this. They're okay with this. The second news has to do with the rollout of the gold card, the Trump gold card, which, friends, it's so ludicrous. It's kind of hard to even talk about. The proclamation says that the Department of Commerce will offer a visa program that will expedite the processing of visa applicants who voluntarily donate to the United States $1 million or $2 million if it's a corporation who is trying to bring someone here. And this is a gift that is to be deposited in the Department of Commerce into their budget. The program is going to be managed by the Secretary of Commerce. And, oh, by the way, this is a pathway to citizenship. The proclamation says that it's going to be carried out in accordance with current law, existing law, and taking into consideration visa numerical issues like the backlog. It's going to be really interesting to see how this works because on the one hand, it says that it's going to be carried out based on existing laws. There's no, what they're talking about here is they're saying we're not creating a new category, so to speak. You can apply to come to the United States through the immigrant visa process, provided that you're otherwise eligible for that visa. However, if you now donate $1 million or $2 million, they will expedite the processing. It will all be managed by Commerce. Yeah, you know that guy. That guy will be managing this. So this is definitely circumventing Congress. This is getting around the congressional intent with respect to visa categories and eligibility and who can come to America versus who cannot come to America. It's getting around all of those rules. This is outrageous, guys. This is truly outrageous.
We're going to be saying goodbye to the H-1B program. Trump just changed the rules. If a company is going to sponsor you for an H-1B, either you or the company have to pay the U.S. government $100,000. Why is Trump destroying the H-1B program? Nobody knows for sure. Could take some guesses. One, he doesn't particularly like India. Just put 50% tariffs on India, and 75% of the tech workers who come on H-1Bs are from India. Is that a possibility? He doesn't like Silicon Valley. They seem to lean liberal. They're Democrats. Is that a possibility? And he just rolled out the gold card. He just wants people to invest $1 million and come here and get a green card. He thinks entrepreneurs are the way that we're going to build the United States, not with tech workers. Maybe there's some other reasons too I can't even think of. What do you guys think?
So guys, welcome back. Let us know what you think about this episode on the comment section, right? Mm-hmm. You know, just like I asked in the beginning at the introduction, what does this mean for America and its citizens? Secondly, what does this mean for third world countries? Thirdly, what does this mean for immigrants who are qualified enough to work in these big companies, you know?
Right, so these are the three dimensions you're going to be looking at today. And let's start by what this means for American citizens.
Right.
If I were an American, personally, I would be elated, or I'd be very, very happy because this means that companies will now be forced to train American citizens to take up these jobs. Well, it is still yet to be seen whether this is one of the many solutions that will come towards tackling unemployment in America.
Right, and I just screenshot some of the a few comments from which I found that were quite interesting, where Americans were speaking up about this, you know. And while there are those ones who are happy that these companies are going to be looking at some of their citizens to outsource this labor,
especially
others,
in tech industries.
Exactly. Others are not exactly happy. They're actually kind of worried because somebody said, yeah, over 10,000 doctors in the US are on H-1B visas. This is going to be such a self-inflicted wound on healthcare. So that one is concerned because, according to him, he says healthcare holds a lot of H-1B visas workers who work in their hospital industries, you know. And so he's asking, if they get rid of the H-1B visa workers, are they gonna be finding qualified enough, like the numbers they need to work in their hospitals? Because somebody also said that right now in healthcare system already they have a problem with insufficient doctors and nurses. So this could be potentially could be a double-edged sword, you know, where if it cuts going forward, it's gonna be cutting when it's coming back, meaning it might be, we just will have to wait and see, but it might affect America in a positive way or a negative way. But right now we don't know, should this affect it, which way it's gonna go, right? Another one said, as a H-1B visa holder, I work as a large animal veterinary intern. I pay my taxes and I'm legal here. I'm scared because obviously now no institution or private practice will ever want to hire us again, right? So I want to assume that her name is Marianne. I want to assume that she doesn't have her legal status yet, and she's only working in America because of the H-1B visa, right? And the question is, should she come to the end of her contract? What is it going to look like for her? But the good thing people are saying is that the brain drain is finally gonna be stopped or at least reduced. People like Mariana will get to go home and put their practice.
Yeah, put their practice in their countries and build their countries. So for people who are living outside America, like myself and many others, the first thought we had when this news was announced was, because it's obvious right now that no company will want to pay $100,000 unless they really want that person who is not an American citizen.
$100,000, that's a lot of money. In Africa, I could build a mansion and live comfortably.
And live comfortably and have a couple of businesses too, right? So a lot of people who are not Americans do feel like at least or at last brain drain will be reduced, and these talents will have to stay at home and work in their countries unless they choose for other alternatives, which is not America, like Europe or South America or any other place that is not Africa or their original homes, you know.
Right.
To which I'm saying, although also these other countries are also narrowing down on immigrants, because you see in Europe, like for example the UK, people have already started protesting against immigrants, and when you go down to Australia, it's the same thing is happening. Even in Spain, the same thing was happening.
And other people are also like reacting to this, and there's also a comment there from where I screenshot from a Canadian, and what were they saying? As a Canadian, we thank Trump for the skilled labor and new companies we are about to get. So the question is, do you think that some countries are gonna be eventually be forced to close down shop in America so that they can get to rebuild in another country that gives them, you know, favorable business environment?
Right. And also other Americans were saying that American companies that use these foreign labors, they will move their companies from America to other countries in the world because of cheap labor and you know, because of the obvious reason, which is the visa being increased, right? But there is a twist to that. So guys, have you heard, just like one person here was saying, there is a politician in Idaho who suggested that these companies that are thinking, especially American companies that are planning to move the what is it called, companies from America to other affordable countries,
or pick remote workers from other countries.
They're gonna be taxed 25%. So whichever way you look at it, I do feel like the government is trying to keep the work in America and the workers in America as well.
And they're giving these companies difficult choices, to which, when you think about that also, somebody mentioned something very important, and I'll just read it here. Exceptions will be made, rules are not, exceptions will be made. Somebody said that in the videos, right? And I do feel like they're not 100% wrong. You know, exceptions are gonna be made. When you think of people like Elon Musk, who have been buddies with the president, meaning there's a way Mark Zuckerberg, there's a way they benefit each other with the government, you know. Do you think,
scratch my back, I scratch your back
kind of relationship, do you think that these stringent measures are going to be put towards their companies? I don't think so. Something you have to understand about power is that rules are normally meant, but it's not made for everybody. There's normally an exception. You think you're all being treated the same, but there's always that person who's close to power, who's benefiting from that relationship, that is not necessarily being charged these other extra things that other companies are seeing, you know.
Right. And as one of our speakers also said today is that when these rules are being made, maybe they're being made with the intention of killing startup tech companies and other companies, so that the baddies can stay in power and be the only ones with the power.
Yeah, so a lot of things is happening here, you know. And let me just say, let's hear from a H-1B visa who got their citizenship. That was way before President Trump, right? And this person says, citizen several years ago, we are returning to our home. So they became citizens several years ago. That is what the comment is saying. We are returning to our home country this month and taking all our experience, hard work and money with us. This is not the place for us anymore. Just like, I feel like a lot of immigrants right now, they're beginning
of
to
an
see
exit plan out of America, because I do feel like the government has passed a very clear message that America is no longer welcoming immigrants, and more so the ones who are there, America is only for Americans, and most specifically white people.
Right. And what do recruiters have to say about all of this? You know, these people who normally recruit for the H-1B visas and there are such companies that exist, and that is how they make their money, right? And one here left a comment saying, former recruiter here, America is about to find out how mediocre our talent truly is. Guys.
That comment has also reminded me of a comment I read just about this topic, and people who are speaking about the H-1B visa being increased, So someone said that Microsoft also, it had laid off over 9,000 American employees, and later on, the same month, hired over 4,000 foreign employees. And his argument was, sometimes some companies do this because instead of wasting time to train people, they rather just go to the ones who are already skilled with it.
So
and
they
right
have
now,
they have to go outside America to find that many skilled workers.
Right. And as of now, you see the politician who has proposed for the companies who will be doing this, going to outside to, to give them remote works, because they also don't want to incur the 100,000 fee. They want to recruit from outside but give them remote jobs. Also, those ones will be taxed 25%.
That, I feel like that is, anyway, you don't know, guys. I feel like that's a debate that we leave to you on the comment section, because we'd really like to hear from you in the comment section,
Right.
Because you cannot tell me they fired 9,000 American citizens in order to get 4,000 skilled citizens and non-citizens, foreigners, just because the 4,000 they only could find it outside. Could it be because they're cheaper and
of
they're
course,
just using
it's one of the reasons.
Right.
And this cheapness is what was deteriorating creating American employment market, because Americans do not want to be paid anyhowly. So then they go to look for foreign workers who are cheaper,
who will accept their cheap payments.
Right,
but anyway, it would be expensive for the companies, because I'm looking at the 4,000 number, and if you have to pay $100,000, right, for every import of labor you're bringing, that means a company would be losing. Okay, 4,000 is a lot. Let's even just look at 500. They just import 500 workers. That is 50 million a company is losing.
Just
so that's a lot of
importing
money.
labor. But guys, I do say that because other people are saying this is a disaster waiting to happen, especially for the health system, American medical system, right? So I do feel like only time will tell where this whole thing, the direction it's headed, and the only time will tell if it will be successful, right?
Right. Another thing, sometimes when difficult decisions, I'm not saying this is good or bad, but I'm just saying sometimes difficult decisions have to be made to rectify a system, exactly. And maybe this is what has to happen to bring back America to the glory days it used to enjoy when its citizens are happy. I don't know,
and
guys.
Not only that, it will also help third world countries retain their biggest, their brightest, their best, skilled labors, instead of that brain drain happening, because that is what made Africa fall back after colonization ended. The Western whatevers, they were giving the best of the best brains scholarships to go abroad and start working when they're abroad instead of here.
Well, so guys, I guess it's just a question of, I think it will depend on how you look at it, depending on where you're standing.
Right,
Let's just leave it at that.
Right, because depending on where you're standing, also the skilled laborers who are going to America and others who are applying, they're not happy right now, because that was their chance to others not necessarily get out of poverty, but make something of themselves
get better payment as well.
A
place that appreciates your skills.
Exactly.
Anyway, guys, let us know what you think about this episode on the comment section, and also consider subscribing if it's your first time here, and we'll see you on our next episode. As usual, we want to thank you so much for joining us on this one, right?
Right.